Yeah, so this last week, I spent a great amount of time looking at kind of vegan activist videos, animal rights activist videos, animal welfare, these sorts of things. Watching a lot of kind of the gruesome videos or the kind of harsh realities of consuming animal products, right? And what I found there was really just completely disturbing. Completely disturbing, and it's really kind of it's really kind of shaken me emotionally. I feel like just disgusted, completely disgusted by what I've seen. And I think I spent a great amount of time, like the majority of my life I've really spent just as a meat eater, and not really consciously being aware or even considering like where that meat came from, what it is. Even it's just like a slice of ham or a bit of chicken or a steak. I mean, it's got these different words, so you kind of just don't even look at what it is or where it came from at all. And so I caught wind of this guy, Joey Carbstrong, right, on YouTube. And I've seen a few of his videos on Facebook, which were quite kind of extreme and quite intense, where he's kind of on the street and like interviewing people, talking to them about what they think about, animal rights, and showing them like images and videos of how extreme the realities of these things are. And, so those videos kind of caught my attention, obviously, because they were quite kind of maybe controversial or quite intense, and they gained quite a lot of publicity. So I suppose that's how I seen it initially, and initially when I was first watching it, I thought to myself, well, I mean, this guy's pretty intense, it's pretty extreme. But then, so I took it upon myself to spend a lot of time actually watching his videos and seeing what he was all about, like where he was coming from, what's caused this guy to be so passionate and extreme and intense, with his feelings and his thoughts about this thing. What is his driving force for that? Why is he so committed to this thing? So I spent one night, I think it maybe it's Wednesday now. I think it was last Thursday. I spent about 5 hours like watching a lot of his videos, which then led on to other videos, like the documentary Dominion and the documentary Earthlings, by Ed Earthling, I think his name is. And so I was watching a lot of their videos and the documentaries, and kind of the behind the scenes sort of stuff, what really goes on in these animal factories and these farms where they grow animals. Basically, they artificially inseminate cows and pigs and all these kind of beautiful animals. Like what's really going on there. How is that made? And if you watch a documentary called Dominion, you'll see what I'm talking about here. And actually, it's just such a repulsive thing to witness. Like it's sickening, it's saddening, it's upsetting, it's disturbing. It's such a fucked up thing to look at. The abuse of a living creature, in what for what, in the name of a bacon sandwich or milk in your coffee or tea, or milk in your cereal, or eggs or butter, or these very normal things, right? Which a lot of families and people eat every day without question. They feed a yogurt to their kid, or they cook up some sausages, and they don't really give it any thought or input about what that thing is and where it's came from. But really, when we start to pay attention to the actual reality of what that is, it's so extreme, right? Like its origins, where it came from, how it was raised. Basically what we're looking at here is an animal which has been bred into existence you know, by humans, right? It's been artificially inseminated. So what that means is the female cows or pigs or whatever kind of animal, you know, have been injected with male semen, you know, to give birth, right? And from the minute these animals are born, they're tortured, you know, they're beaten, they're abused, they're forced into lives in cages where, you know, in some cases they have no sunlight. They've never, basically these animals have never seen happiness. You know, all these animals know is abuse. All these animals know is torture. Actually, a lot of, you know, the majority of these places are like something out of a nightmare or a horror film. You know, it's like just so absurd and disgusting that you couldn't even comprehend, you know, what's going on there. Like when you see it, you know, when you hear like these pigs, man, like these pigs screaming for their lives, and these cows with like humongous eyes, like big eyes, lovely, gorgeous big brown eyes, you know, and you see this like cow, you know, stuck in a tiny little pen, just being milked, you know, just being sucking the life out of it, you know, and so, you know, for a cow to be a milking cow, it needs to constantly be pregnant, you know, so they artificially inseminate it, make it pregnant, make it give birth, and when it does give birth, they take the calves away from it, you know, immediately. In some cases, most cases, they're taken away straight away, and the cows are like moaning and screaming basically for their children, you know, in pastures where the cows are allowed to roam free, you know, they're not stuck in cages, right, but where they're allowed to roam free to some extent, they wander and look around and make really loud noises for days and days after their children have been taken away from them, because they're actually looking for these baby calves, you know, they're looking for their children, eh? Like you can actually see the emotion and the, you know, the real feeling in the cow, you know what I mean? It's a very visible thing, like it's not something you need to look hard for, it's not, you know, some kind of study where you need to like see if a cow has intelligence. You can look at it and see that it feels things, you know, like you take a knife to a cow, it doesn't, you know, it's and you press it against it, it's going to run away. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't want to feel pain, right? So anyway, like I've been watching all these videos and I've been watching all this stuff, and I just couldn't take all that in and then just do nothing about it, you know? So like the night after I spent a good 4 or 5 hours watching this Joey Carbstrong and a lot of his videos, I woke up the next morning and just threw out everything I had in my kitchen, which was an animal product, you know, threw out all the meat, threw out, you know, the milk, butter, cheese, everything that I had, that was made by an animal. And I went to the shop and you know, just bought loads of vegetables and fruits and everything like that, and just decided there and then that I was just going to become vegan and never eat any of these animals again, because, you know, you can't do that. You just can't. You can't see something like that and just leave it, you know? It's like, it's extreme torture, eh, that they go through every single day of their lives. And yeah, this definitely affected me like a lot emotionally, you know. I feel intense. Like last night I was really you know, I watched a bit of Earthlings again, and you know, when you're seeing like pigs be lowered into like a gas chamber, you know, which is described as like a humane way of killing them, right? You know, RSPCA approved and everything like that. And when they're being lowered into these gas chambers, these lovely little pigs, you know, they're screaming, you know, they're thrashing around and they're screaming, you know what I mean? And I was thinking about that a lot last night, you know, that I'm sitting there in my bed, like, just comfortable, and, you know, right now there's all these animals that are just screaming for their lives. You know, it's not like, it's not just not happening because I don't think about it, like it's happening every day. It's It's happening all the time. Like, it's happening now, you know, while you're watching this or while I'm recording it. And it's not something that I can, you know, just continue to do nothing about. Continue to just, okay, cool, I'll just go and get some bacon from the shop and I'll just go and grab a pint of milk. Like, I can't, it doesn't make sense to do that. It's not, it can't happen, you know what I mean? Like, once you've been exposed to that level of like extreme abuse and violence that goes on every single day to these animals, you know, and when you're watching these videos, like, it's not just some isolated case where you think like, oh, well, that's just one farm which is like really extreme. Like, a lot of the content in these videos is from like commercial grade like animal farms, you know what I mean? Like, up and down the country, everywhere, you know, like when you see milk in the supermarket, like, that's where it's coming from. It's not some fucking cow that's just like walking about in the wild happy its whole life and just gets a little bit of milk plucked out of it. No, like, that cow is, its entire life is producing milk for you to drink in your coffee. Like, it's in extreme suffering constantly every day for you to have a fucking milk in your coffee. You know what I mean? I went to Tesco and you know, they've got like coconut milk, almond milk, rice milk, oat milk, like a million different types of milk, right? You know, and I thought, well, maybe it's not going to taste very nice, right? So, you know, I got the coconut milk, right? Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Tastes great. You know, coconut milk in a coffee in the morning, gorgeous. You know what I mean? It's like, so you can either buy coconut milk or whatever kind of milk you want to buy, or you can buy cow milk, which is just causing an animal extreme pain and suffering its whole life. You know what I mean? Or you can buy this other milk that's caused no suffering to anything at all. You know, it's not causing any suffering to anything. So it's not like, you know, people talk about veganism as being like this extreme thing, right? Where like, oh, you know, I mean, I would think about vegetarianism, but veganism, you know, it's too extreme for me. But it's not extreme in the slightest. Like, it's not even remotely extreme. You just go to the shop and don't buy any animal products. There's a million different alternatives that are amazing, gorgeous foods. You know what I mean? It's really not very difficult. And yeah, so to talk about like, you know, other than just extreme animal abuse, like, I felt amazing. I felt great, like, physically in a kind of health level. I've had more energy, more time in the day. You know, like, usually I spend a large time in the day feeling quite tired or exhausted, things like that. You know, even just last week, I mean, you know, my general kind of day-to-day living is like, you know, drinking a lot, you know, getting takeaways, things like that, playing a lot of video games. I mean, the last 5 years or so of my life I've spent, you know, drinking a ton and just sitting around playing video games. Like, that's what I've done, and just kind of unconsciously eating whatever I can, you know, whether that be like pizzas or Indians or Chinese or fucking sausage rolls, like pies, just whatever. Like, I've eaten so much shit, you know what I mean, over the last 5 years, and I got like really heavy. Yeah, I'm like 18 stone, you know, big guy, big belly on me and stuff, you know what I mean? And you know, it's just horrific, like, what you do to yourself while you're not really aware of what you're doing. So I want to make videos about actually how a vegan diet can transform the body, because I can feel it immediately, you know, like how it's going to affect me, how it's going to change me. I can feel that actually straight away. It's only been 5 days now where I've been on a completely vegan diet, and like I said, like, I feel lighter, I feel more energy, I feel less lethargic, I feel like I can think more clearly, which has been a big one for me. You know, a lot, like, it's been quite a big drinker. You feel like a lot of brain fog, you know, people call it, just this kind of heaviness in the mind where you're just really quite tired and you can't think kind of clearly and concisely, you know. And since I've gone vegan, like, I feel clarity in the mind, which is something which I'm appreciating. I'm loving that, you know, feeling clarity in the mind. So yeah, so I can tell that you know, within a very short space of time, like, I'm going to become an extremely healthy individual. So I wanted to kind of document that and show that over time, how this vegan diet has affected me and how it's changed my body and my health. You know, and maybe include like a bit of kind of weightlifting and things like that, and show really what can be done, and we'll see how quickly in quite a short space of time that can be changed. I think it's going to be an interesting thing to watch, definitely. And myself, I'm quite looking forward to showing that. But I think, other than that, I'm looking into activism, animal rights and things like that. Really want to get on board with that, because like I said last night, when you're sitting and you've got the kind of noise of like these fucking pigs, man, like screaming for their lives ringing through your ears, like, are you just gonna forget about that? Can't just turn off to that's happening every day. So I also want to get involved in animal activism and animal rights and welfare, these sorts of activist kind of groups, and just really just to kind of raise awareness for that, because I don't think a really small percentage of the population are actually aware of what they're eating and where that comes from, and the life that these animals are in every single day for the sake of your burgers and your steaks and your chicken and these things. Like, I don't think many people are aware at all, what that is. And if they are, like, would you show it to your children, like these images that I'm putting on the screen here? I mean, is that something that you'd be comfortable like showing your kids, And of course not. Of course you wouldn't, right? But why? Why? So, just as a wee example, like I was sitting in the garden the other day, and I kind of overheard the neighbors, and they were on the phone to the granddad, right? And they were talking about Peppa Pig. The kid of the family was really into this Peppa Pig thing, this little cartoon Peppa Pig, whatever. And and so later on that day they had a barbecue out in the garden, and the dad got like the sausages on and stuff, and I was just kind of thinking like how absurd that is, like this kid's really into this Peppa Pig thing, and then the dad's cooking sausages later on in the evening and giving it to the kid, and the kid's got no idea what that sausage is, right? The kid doesn't know what it is. No idea. It's just a sausage. It's called a sausage, right? So imagine what happens if you show the child that this Peppa Pig that he absolutely loves is that sausage that he's eating. Like, you'll think that kid's gonna scream. Like, he's gonna be distraught. He's gonna be horrified. And you show the kid like the pig's life. You know what I mean? So if we really start to think about it and we really kind of come to terms with it and accept like what we're doing, we have no other option than to be vegan. There's no middle ground. There's no, okay, I'll eat less meat, okay, I'll be vegetarian. Like, actually all of it is extreme abuse, is extreme torture. And it's not something that I want to be a part of, and it's not something that I think anyone should be a part of or wants to be a part of if they're aware of it on a very conscious level. How can you partake in that? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just not possible. So yeah, anyway, I'm definitely going to try and show like a transformation video of myself and how I've physically changed over the course of being completely vegan, including some kind of bodybuilding, things like that. Because as well, I think, like, people tend to actually listen to you and pay a bit more attention to you if you personally look well and you look good. If you've got big muscles and you're a good looking person, you take care of your skin and things like that, people are more inclined to listen to what you say. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what you think about that, that's generally the case. You know what I mean? If a big guy comes up to you, really toned, good looking guy with nice skin and everything like that, he looks after himself, like, you're going to be more inclined to sort of be attracted to him or pay attention to what he's got to say. So I think that's a valuable part of kind of getting involved with animal activism, is getting to like your peak health, you know what I mean? Being as good as you can be on a physical level, because people will pay you more attention. So I'm going to give that a go. And also I think it'll be an interesting thing for other people to see, like how quickly a vegan diet can transform the human body, So with that, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to stay positive, but it's really extreme, you know, when you become aware of this stuff that's going on. It's like it's really hard to want to live in a world where people do these horrific things to animals, horrific abuse of animals, you know, and you try and sort of talk to somebody about it. You say, hey man, look at this, whoa, holy shit, you know, what is that? Wow, what the fuck is that guy doing? Why is he fucking punching fuck out that pig, you know, like, to get it down a little production line so it can go and be killed? Why is he punching its fucking head in? Look at this shit, man. You know, and then he turns around, whoever you show it to, and they say, oh, well, I don't know, man, I really like bacon, eh? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you know, it's pretty hard to, like, be motivated to live in a world where that is predominantly the case, you know, pure ignorance. Like, people have been taught to believe that these animals have no feelings and stuff, you know, when they very clearly do. So I think the only thing that I can do, you know, as a person to be happy, you know, is do something about this, you know, try my best to do something about that and raise awareness of it and show people what the fuck is going on, you know. I'll give updates, you know, like daily or every couple of days, based around sort of my own progress or the developments that I've made towards animal activism, you know, animal rights, things like that. I'll try to kind of cover those things and what I'm doing on a personal level to help promote a more peaceful world. I think I can definitely start small, you know, maybe including like bird feed in the garden, or, you know, very small personal things that you can do every day to kind of improve the well-being of the animals on the planet. You know, it's something that it's really strange because, you know, it's all just came to me very suddenly. It feels like a kind of light bulb is switched on. I want to do stuff, you know, to help animals, and I think I don't think it's wrong to document it and show it. So yeah, I mean, if you want to watch and kind of see where it goes, then, you know, definitely tune in and click on my videos and yeah, show me what you're up to, and let's hopefully change this fucked up world, you know, or at least make a little dent, you know what I mean? I think if I even can stop eating animals, you know, just me, like, think how many animals I'm saving every year just by stopping eating them, you know. Because yeah, they all want to be loved, they all feel pain, you know, they all love hugs, you know, I don't know, you know, it's just wild, it's crazy what we're doing to them. So yeah, I'm gonna end the video now, and I'm gonna go and go for a walk, take the dogs out for a walk. So I'm not actually gonna edit this one too much. I kind of just want it to be as kind of raw as possible. I'm probably gonna put the video footage of what I've been looking at as well over the screen, so you can kind of look at that while you're watching. I know it's really extreme and disturbing, but that's the sausage on your plate, like, you know what I mean? That's the milk in your coffee. That's the steak with your chips, like, you know, that's the chicken in your burrito, you know? So yes, it's extreme, but shouldn't you be aware of these things? Okay, so yeah, I'll see you in the next video.